Alright, hey guys, it's Advance with Tag Gaming, and I'm bringing you some information. So, not another round of Battlefield 1, not some PUBG or some hardware reviews, but what's going on with the Intel 8700K. Uh, so, you might have noticed that getting a hold of the new 8th gen processor by Intel, 6 core all greatness, is that you can't get it, you can't find it. And I'm going to tell you what happened. No thanks. You don't need a tech. So what has happened is Intel has not even shipped these out yet for the majority, most parts, to all the vendors. And some case in something like Newegg, what has happened is they actually never received any yet. So on launch date of October 5th, Newegg had none. And what happened is they placed an order for some the end of last month, and they received a verification of an order of only 20. So what they did is they put up back order only for the 20, which obviously sold out. I mean, they put out 20. So Intel's playing games. I mean, they obviously could have made more of the 8700Ks than the other processors, right? And instead they chose to bring out all the other processors in the low end and launch them, because let's check availability on the garbage that I would not want. There's no reason for me to even spend money on something this low of a level for my needs. See, so they could have easily made in the production, instead of ran these processors, they could have ran more of these, but they didn't. So I think they're messing around, they're playing games. Now this, they did receive the 8700, but for me, if I'm an enthusiast and I always have the top of the level as far as for what my needs are, like this is a gaming processor versus the X series, because I used to run just X series, but since I do more gaming now, I'd want one with the fastest possible single core thread speed, which is obviously the 8700K. If you've seen any reviews out there, it is would be the world's fastest single thread processor out there, with a couple extra cores. And I would say with BIOS updates, firmware options and things like that, it might even be improved, because they pushed this processor out a year early only because of AMD and their Threadripper crap, which I think they should have AMD should have had a lower price point, and they probably would have snagged up a lot more people. Me, I will not lie, I am an Intel fanboy, just like Nvidia. Have I had AMD before? I have never had an AMD processor in my entire life. I've always had Intel. Now with AMD or Radeon versus Nvidia, have I had those type of cards before? Yes, I have had those cards, because back in the day, in the past, they used to kind of be a little more competitive, and I really was kind of new and didn't know the problems and issues with drivers, and I experienced a lot with AMD or Radeon back in the day, and very few with Nvidia, and that's just how it kind of worked out to where I stick with what I know. And that's also with motherboards. I only run Asus boards. I've gone through all the different series over the years, P4, Deluxes, and things like that. And the last 8 years, I think, I've been solid with the Rogue series, and usually the high-end boards, like the Formulas, 7s, 8s, 9s, 6s, 4s. I think I've had almost every single one, maybe skipped one generation. But back to what we're talking about. So a little recap. Newegg never received, for launch date, any of the 8700Ks. They got a back order. They got a back order for only 20. They put the 20 up. I got one. So my thing is, I'm excited to get it and I wanted it, and I can't wait to rip my system apart. But I found out that Asus, on their new Formula board that I want, won't be out for another month. So do I really want to sit on that 8700K for a month? Probably not, but it's a toss-up. So I'd probably just put it on eBay, right, and sell it to somebody who has some money who can't wait, because there's a shit ton of people that have a shit ton of money, and when there's certain things I want, if I don't want to wait, I have the money, I just buy it because I don't care, because I want it. So it's a supply and demand thing. So I don't know if they're trying to create a supply and demand thing or what they're trying to do. They're obviously doing something, because I mean, if you know anything about manufacturing, production, and all that stuff like that, unless these particular machines they use to make these are not able to make this processor, which I'm not aware of, that would only be the reason they'd make these. But as far as I'm concerned, they should have probably launched this, but I think what they want to do is they want to make a demand for it. We know companies do that all the time. We know Intel behaves very badly. And they, like I said, they wouldn't even have came out with this processor for another year if they didn't feel like they needed to step it up because of AMD. But, so you guys know, source is reliable. And I mean, you can take a look at it. I mean, nobody has gotten a processor from Newegg on launch date. It was all back orders for the 8700K. And right now, if you want an 8700K, the back ordered ones that Newegg got that they still have not received, but they should receive hopefully shortly, you're looking at paying about $1,000 to get one. And there's people out there that'll pay $1,000 to get it. I mean, you look at the X series and the price points you start to get up in the X series. It's a X series, you know, and it's fast and it's got a lot of cores, but it is still not brand new architecture, and it is, well, kind of similar architecture, 7700K, but you guys know what I mean. It is newer and a little step up. It is the first 6-core, and it is the fastest single-core processor out there. Plus, I've been seeing some of the reviewers, except one, they were able to get 5.2. One said he was only able to get 4.9, and it's probably Intel probably shipped it to him because they don't like the guy. I don't know why he was the only one that got one that went overclocked too. So I'm going to say probably this first lot of processors coming out is probably going to be their most controlled, best processors that are going to probably clock the highest, unless they're able to figure something out and improve because they launched a year earlier than they wanted to make the new ones as they're going through to outperform their first lot, which is probably not the case, because they're probably just going to move on to the next processor because this one's done and said, and they're just going to ship them out and start focusing on their next processor to make sure AMD doesn't combat them. So your best bet, tell you the truth, is you're probably going to pay a premium, and to get a processor is probably going to clock higher than the other processors come out when they start doing mass production runs of them, which is, I was told, but this is not a credible source versus the source I have for about the back orders and what's going on, is that the main amount of processors that they're going to release for the 8700Ks is not till 2018 first quarter. Is basically when you might be able to go on a Newegg, click buy one, and have it sent to you. So I just wanted a little update on the information I found out. And anybody who's sitting here just pounding down, keeps checking Newegg, probably forget it. Because they haven't even got the back order, and they're only shipped 20. And they're talking 2018. So for me, I'm not going to, I mean, I've got one. So unless my back order gets screwed up, I should have one here pretty soon. And if you see somebody selling one on eBay, you're going to be looking at close to $1,000 to get a hold of it. And if it's on auction, it may skyrocket beyond that. I mean, somebody in Dubai, you know, they got Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Bugattis. They may want the fastest processor before other people got it. They could drop 10G and not even care, right? It makes no sense. But the part is they're rich. They don't care. It's not even like they have to earn the money. It's like their money from their dad or some shit. You know what I mean? Or just tons of oil money coming in. They're just going to buy it and get it. My problem is the board I want is the Asus Maximus Formula 10. And it's from Asus, as far as I can tell on YouTube, and I found a channel, I could barely understand the guy, what he was saying. But it looks like it's going to be out probably till November or December till they even launch the board I want. So I'm not going to sit on my processor. And I put my processor up on eBay, auction for 10 days at $999.99. Because what the hell, I'm not going to be able to use it even though I got one, but I planned on using it. And I already have a bid. So I'm hoping the person that did put the bid in, will pay for it. They have a pretty good account, a pretty good rating with a lot of years. And you know what? To get a good account on eBay, you have to have a lot of sales to get that gold star with a high rating. Like, this is what's something I have. So you know that you're buying somebody that's a credible buyer and not getting scammed. Because even if you got insurance and somebody scammed you, you could still take forever to get your shit back from eBay. And PayPal can still hold your funds forever. But yeah, just a little update. Hopefully it's helpful to some people. Don't get mad at me. I didn't do nothing. It's all intel. And I'll see you guys later. Remember to subscribe if you want to see some more information, some more updates. Yeah, my channel is mostly gaming. It's a lot of PUBG, a lot of Battlefield, but a lot of my benchmarks are with top-end hardware and benchmarks, and then some gameplay with just some off-the-wall commentary to keep things going, because PUBG can be very boring versus Battlefield 1 with action, but there's still some funny stuff in there and some cool stuff and some crazy shots. And the hardware reviews, which obviously if you want to see some gameplay coming up with Battlefield 1, PUBG, shooter type games, and you're going to want to see the 8700K on the new Asus Maximus Formula with a couple of EVGA GTX 1080 Ti for the 1.3s and SLI, or just single card action. And remember to subscribe and you'll be able to see those benchmarks when I get a hold of the motherboard. And probably another processor. I don't even know if I'm going to let that processor go for $1,000. You know what I mean? If it's going to be that hard and that much of a rarity, even to be able to get benchmarks up before the mainstream amount of people, versus like what some of the YouTubers do is with hardware reviews like Jay's 2 Cents, the simulated benchmarks and crap, you know, and not long-term performance is something I'll have versus them. And I'll see you guys later.